Hi, it's Megan. I talk a lot about skincare. I talk obsessively about skincare. And I wanted to do a video on what I think is kind of the hardest product to describe, which are the essences. So I'm super into Korean skincare and carry a lot of the products on my website, Essential Beauty. And I talk a lot about essences and how they've been one of the products that has most transformed my skin. But when you look at most essences, it looks really like water. It looks a lot like a toner. And this is the Missha one. And who knows? Does it really do anything? The theory behind it, they're not all fermented products, but a lot of the better known ones are fermented products. And I'm only focusing on kind of the 4 best known ones. There are a couple of others that I have that are kind of a mix of essence and toner or whatever that I have on the Essential Beauty website, but I'm kind of focusing on like the big 4 classic Galactomyces based, which is a fermented rice, kind of like sake essence, just because, I don't know, when people say Korean or Japanese essence, they usually think SK2, and these are the SK2 dupes. But there are a whole bunch of other essences out there that aren't like these products. And Galactomyces are also like, I've got a cream that has it, I've got a mask that has it, they're in other things. But the way I understand it, SK2 started doing the essence because they started noticing that some of the workers who were working with sake had these amazing hands that didn't show aging, and it was the fermented rice and whatever. So that's the theory behind it. But don't think that these are the only essences or these are the only types of essences. These are just 4 essences. So in this video, I have the Missha Time Revolution, the first treatment essence, the one that kind of starts the conversation for most people, the SK2 facial treatment essence. Then I have the Monique Labs essence, which is called the first skin essence. And this one is an almost exact dupe of the SK2 and was designed to be, but it has fewer preservatives in it, or artificial. And then the Secret Key, the starting treatment essence. This was the first kind of dupe of the SK2, and this is the one that I mostly use, although I use them all. But it's like a super cost-effective way of getting the SK2, this is $100. The Secret Key is around $30 for a much bigger bottle. The Monique Labs is also around $30, and the Missha is about $45. And these are packed in glass bottles. I also have one on the website from a brand called NoTS, which is also a fermented product, but it's not the fermented rice, a little bit different. And I really love that one too. So why do an essence? So in the Korean skincare 10-step ritual, you do a double cleanse and then you do a toner, and the toner is supposed to even out the pH a little bit and prep the skin for what comes next. But I would say that in the Korean and Japanese as well, the toners have more nutrition. So the thought is you're trying to add all this nutrition into your face, all these beneficial, non-harmful, non-harsh ingredients, and then kind of lock that in, and it creates kind of plumper skin. And so like a serum is an intense concentration of nutrition. What an essence essentially is, if I were just to sum it up, what an essence does, in my opinion, is because of the fermentation, what's going into your skin is going in at a lot more intensity. It's smaller molecules, so it penetrates better into the skin. And it is intensely pore refining, clarifying, and radiance giving. So to me, when I use an essence and I say that I adore an essence, it basically just evens out my skin tone, makes the pores look smaller, makes it look more refined, adds kind of that radiance. It's kind of hard to describe, but as I see people using these products, they say the same thing. My skin just looks better. And if you have acne-oriented skin, it tends to also kind of fight those breakouts. Also, deliver nutrients deep in the skin, improve glow by encouraging skin renewal, and then provide elasticity. So the active ingredients in these, the Missha has, I can't pronounce any of these, Saccharomyces ferment filtrate, which is a type of yeast, but it's a little bit different. And then it has some licorice root. The SK has Galactomyces ferment filtrate, Secret Key has Galactomyces, and the Monique Labs also. So they're about the same. And they say fermented yeast using alcoholic beverages, but it's really sake based, like rice based. And then there is that whole thing about anti-inflammatory and cell renewal. So what do I think? First of all, if you pour any of these out, you can apply them 2 ways. I'm going to try to pour a little bit. It's not going to work very well. You see, it's like a water. I just spilt it everywhere. It's like a water. And I pat it onto my face. You can put it onto a cotton pad, but then you're really wasting a lot of it. I just kind of dot it in and let it sink into my skin. It does take some time to sink in, but that's just the way I like to do it. The Secret Key, I don't know. It's so hard to describe the differences between these, but I'm going to make a go at it. The Secret Key seems to have 2 different formulas, one for here in the US and one for kind of Asia and Korea. And I'm assuming that it's FDA related, but I don't really know. And this is the one that I've used the most. It basically has just a much lower price point, but a very, very high concentration of this yeast filtrate. It's not quite as high in the American version as the SK2. So if you buy the one in Asia, you have a little bit more yeast than the SK2. If you buy the one in the United States that comes here, you have a little bit less. But it also has more of the beneficial ingredients and less of the preservatives in the SK2. And when I get to SK2, that's going to be kind of the biggest issue some people have with the SK2. The SK2 is not paraben free. It's expensive, and it does have a very high concentrated yeast, 90%, no fragrance, no alcohol, silicone-free, mineral oil-free. And I think they were the ones who discovered this concept, but I'm not completely sure. But a lot of people do complain that it has more preservatives than the Korean ones. So if you don't like that, then the SK2 is not maybe the one for you. The Monique Labs comes like this, and this is meant to be an almost exact dupe of the SK2, but it does have a higher percentage of the Galactomyces, which is the active ingredient, right? Although there are other ingredients in these that are also active and help. But this one has 96.8% versus the 90% in the SK2, and it also has fewer preservatives. So it's more of a classic pure Galactomyces without those extra kind of stabilizers. And again, I honestly, this is where it's really impossible to describe. There might be a slight difference in these with the thickness of the texture, and I've read other bloggers say, well, this one's a little bit thicker and this it takes longer to absorb. Honestly, I don't see a lot of that. I've played around with these extensively, and I don't have issues with that. I do feel like, I hate to say this, and I really waited a long time because I don't want to say something bad about SK2, but I felt like my skin didn't look as good after using it as it did after the other 3. Then the Missha. Missha has this on the site. I don't have it on the Central Beauty website just because they have all these great promotions. I don't really think I add any value. I think if you're going to buy the Missha, you should buy it directly from them because they have a lot of sales and they give you a lot of freebies. The nice thing about this one is that it is a very close dupe, not quite as close as the other 2 of the SK2. I had read that it has slight bits of AHAs in it, but I couldn't find that in the ingredients, so I don't really know about it. But I have used this, and if it does have AHAs in it, I'm a little skeptical because I usually can't deal with those, and my skin has not had any problem. But this one is just a very, very classic, great example of a really wonderful essence. So I'm going to end it here because I don't really feel like I have anything else to say. But choosing between them, it really depends what you want. The advantage of this one is that it has a very high level of Galactomyces, and SK2 is a very credible brand. The disadvantage, I don't like it as much, honestly. I don't. It doesn't work as well for my personal skin, but everyone's skin is different. It might work really well for yours. I think that these two are very, very similar. Picking between them, I honestly can't. This one's a little cheaper, but I feel like when I use both of these, you can see I've used almost my whole bottle of this, and I have used my whole bottle of this, which is why I don't have one that's unopened. I can't tell the difference. They're both amazing. And then with this one here, this is the closest to the SK2 of all of them. It's got the highest level of Galactomyces, the Monique Labs, but it has fewer preservatives, so it's less irritating to my skin than the SK2 is. So I would go with this over SK2 personally. And 30 versus 100 for more and a better result, I'm going with this one. So anyway, I think you should try them all and see which works best for your skin type. Start with one and see if it benefits your skin, and then start with another. And I would skip the cotton ball, just dot it onto your face and see what happens. And that is the end of this video. Please subscribe on YouTube. And I kind of feel like I left something out of this video. So if I did, please let me know what you think I left out, and at least if it's not in the video, it'll be in the comments. Thanks for watching.